Jagruti's Dr. Brahmara, I think Dr. Mara hasn't joined. He has messaged that she'll be doing the reading, so shall we wait for a few minutes? Oh, she's come.
Sahanavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Kara Vavahai Tejasvinavaditamaktu Ma Vidvishavahai Shanti 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 Sadasivasamaramvam Sankaracharyamadhyamam Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudirayet. Hari Om. Good morning. So you started from 22nd verse, you said? 21st verse.
21st, Dr. Mara.
Okay. So you guys read some of it already?
Yeah, we read, but if you want to quickly read through, you can read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good. Veda vinasinam nityam yainam jam. Okay. Inam ajam avyayam katam cha purushah partha kam gatayati hantikam. Partha, who son of Pritha, Inam, this Atma. Avinashinam. Avinashinam is indestructible. Nityam, timeless. Ajam, unborn. Avyayam, that which does not undergo decline. Yaha, Veda, the one who knows. Saha, that. Purushaha, person. Katham, how. Come, whom. Hanti, kills. Come, whom. Gatayati, causes to destroy. So Partha, enam avinashinam, nityam ajam avyayam yaha veda saha purushaha katam hanti kam katayati. O son of Pritha, the one who knows this self to be indestructible, timeless, unborn, and not subject to decline, how and whom does that person kill? How and whom does that person kill? Whom does he cause to kill? The one who thinks that Atma performs the action of killing, or any action for that matter, does not know Atma, and the one who looks upon Atma as an object of the action of killing or any other action also does not know the Atma. This is because, as we saw in the earlier verse, Atma does not kill, nor is it killed. Nahanti nahanyate. To put it positively, one who takes the Atma to be neither the subject nor the object of action knows the Atma. What has been pointed out so far was summed up here by Krishna. His initial statement was that Atma does not become the Karta. His initial statement was that Atma does not become the Karta or Karma of any Kriya. including killing, Manana Kriya. Having introduced this point, he explained that this is because Atma is not subject to change. Having given the reason, he concluded, stating that one who knows the Atma knows it to be avinashi, not subject to death or destruction. So, having given the reason, he concluded stating that the one who knows the Atma knows it to be avinashi, not subject to death or destruction. The body's change is called bhava vikara. Bhava vikara. A technical expression to include jayate is born, vartate grows, viparinamate metamorphosis, apakshyate wanes or declines, and vinashyati. So jayate, vartate, viparinamate, apakshyate. After viparinamate is apakshyate and then vinashyati. Because Atma does not have this last bhava vikara, it is referred to here as avinashi. The one who knows Atma as one that is not subject to death and therefore timeless, nitya, is called an atmajnana. Atmajnana. Okay. The one who knows Atma as the one that is not subject to death and therefore timeless, nitya, is called atmajna, the knower of the Atma. The Atma is also known by the Atmajna as unborn, aja, and as that which does not undergo any kind of decline, avyaya. Unlike Atma, the body is expanded as the years go by. So, unlike Atma, the body is expanded as the years go by. This is why it is described as spent force. The job being done, the game is over. All that is then discussed is in the past tense. I was like this, I was like that, and I would have been like that, etc. This is vyaya. This is vyaya, expenditure. Whereas the Atma is avyaya. Oh. So vyaya means expenditure, whereas the Atma is avyaya, is uh, not destructible or non. Avyaya means no change, right? No decline. In Sanskrit grammar also, the an indeclinable word is called avyaya. Yeah, right. In Sanskrit grammar also, an indeclinable word is called avyaya, that which does not change in any situation, regardless of number, gender, or case. Whom does one kill or cause to kill? Bringing up the one more point in his summary, Krishna asks, whom does that person destroy? Kam hanti. Whom does he destroy? Whom does he impel to kill? Kam gathayati. There are two types of action reflected here. One is to destroy, the other one is the one is the action that you do, and the other is the action that you make others do. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let me read this from here. Krishna asks, whom does that person destroy? Kam hanti. Whom does he impel to kill? Kam gatayati. There are two types of action reflected here. One is the action that you do, and the other is the action that you make others do. In a robbery, for example, there is the accused number one and the accused number two. Then one may have performed the act of driving the getaway car, while the other performed the act of driving the driver. There is someone who performs the felony, and there is someone else behind it. The one behind the felony is accused, and the one who performed it is only an accomplice. The accused is an important person, the kingpin, whereas the other one is only a pin. But both of them perform action. How can one who knows Atma perform the action of killing, and whom does he or she kill? Where is the person being killed? Where is that action? A question is not really being posed here. For instance, we are not trying to find out by what means the killing is done, nor are we trying to find out why the person does it or whether he or she kills. This is not the intent here. Rather, how can one kill and whom does one kill is being looked into. There should be some vikriya on one's part in order to perform the action, and Atma is avikriya. The doubt may arise here. There is no vikriya. If there is no vikriya for Atma, and Atmajna knows that the Atma, the I, is not the performer of any action, how then can that person perform any action? What is to be understood here is that Atma does not perform any action. He does not kill nor cause anyone to kill because Atma does not even wish. It is the swarupa of every wish. The wish is a namarupa, a thought, and if you press the thought, it ends up in Atma, wherein there is no thought anywhere. Thus, any given thought or desire is mithya. One second. Sorry. A doubt may arise here. There is no vikriya for Atma, and the Atmajna knows. Oh, I did read that. Knows that the Atma and the I is not the performer of any action. How then can that person perform any action? What is to be understood here is that Atma excuse me, sorry. It does not kill nor cause anyone to kill because Atma does not even wish. It is the swarupa of every wish. The wish is a namarupa, a thought, and if you press the thought, it ends up in Atma, wherein there is no thought anywhere. Thus, any given thought or desire is mithya, and the doership is also mithya. That's how they derive this. If you analyze who the doer is, you find that the doer is nothing but consciousness, Chaitanya. That is, the doer disappears in the Chaitanya. Can you excuse me for a second? Like, I'm getting cold in here, so I need to put the heater on. So. Sorry for the interruption. If you analyze who the doer is, you find that the doer is nothing but consciousness, Chaitanya. That is, the doer disappears in the Chaitanya and is not there at all. When the doer is there, the Chaitanya is there. Whereas in Chaitanya, there is no doer. Therefore, there is only drama. There is no real doer, only an as though doer. It is as though he or she hears, as though listens, as though talks, as though walks, and as though stands. So everything is done by the Namarupa. There is no doership in Atma because Atma is always free. There is no doership in Atma because Atma is always free. The notion that I am the performer of the action is the source of action we talk about here. Where is an action without a karta? So the notion that I am the performer of the action is the source of action we talk about here. Where is an action without a karta? Without the doership, kartritva, there is no real action at all. Therefore, the doership is the one that gives the blood, bones, and flesh necessary for the action to be in action and for the karma pala to be the karma pala. The result you enjoy. The whole cycle is based upon the kingpin, the karta. Oh, so the whole story about robbery is about this karta and kartritva. Who is the doer? Sorry, guys, I'm really getting cough now. Do you think anybody can read this paragraph? I'll be just be a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll read.
Okay.
Who is the doer? Without the karta, there is no karma or karma phala. The karta is defined as the one who decides and performs action. He or she has kriya, etc., and therefore can choose from the hundreds of verbal routes for doing that are available. The doer can choose to kill, to speak, or to do any of the varieties of actions possible, but for the Atma, which is avikriya, free from any change, there is no kartritva. Where then is the question of how and whom with reference to killing? Katam ghatyati, katham hanti, kam ghatyati, kam hanti. The word hanti here is only contextual and has nothing to do with killing as such. Shankara says that the expression is purely with reference to action. What kind of action does the person perform, and what kind of action does he or she cause anyone else to perform? A question may then arise here: if a person is a sarv-karm sannyasi and has given up all karmas, will he or she not perform any action at all? Does the person not continue to perform some actions? Does he or she not teach? Does the person not do anything? Not even eat, walk, or talk? How can you say that one who still performs these actions is a sarv-karma sannyasi? You tell me, Dr. Mara, whenever you are able to read, you can continue. Yeah. Sarv-karma sannyasi is the one who does not have the notion that I am the doer. That is, the one who does not have kartritva buddhi. For such a person, there is no doership in the Atma. You are not a sarv karma sannyasi by merely not doing karma. You may be a karma sannyasi, but not a sarv karma sannyasi. Even if you do not do any karma, if you have kartritva buddhi, you are still only a samsari. A sarv karma sannyasi is a jnani, one who is totally free from all karmas. Even if karmas are performed, the jnani does not perform any action. In this, he or she has no doubt whatsoever because, with reference to the Atma, the self, the notion of doership is not there. All that takes place for Jnani is that the sense organs, backed by the mind, engage themselves in their own field of activity. The Jnani does not look upon himself or herself as the Karta. This is the actual meaning of Sarvakar Sannyasa.
Okay, I'll read from here then.
Yeah.
The real meaning of sannyasa. The person who is sarva karma sannyasi is called a vidwan, one who is wise. All the karma that the vidwan has done so far, all the prayers, yoga, all the karma that the vidwan has done so far, all the prayers, yoga, and other forms of discipline, and even in life of sannyasa, have found their fulfillment in this sarva karma sannyasa. Therefore, thereafter, Shankara said, there is no question of such a person doing certain karmas in order to create some result. There is nothing more to do. All the prayers have been fulfilled in this particular discovery, and it is for this discovery alone that the prayers and other karmas were performed. In this way, Shankara connected Vedanta Sastra to the Karma Sastra. Karma Yoga is meant for this alone. Thus, sannyasa is really Sarva Karma Sannyasa. Yeah, that day we were looking at what the difference was, right? So it's only one sannyasa. So I'll read this one line again. Thereafter, Shankara said there is no question of such a person doing certain karmas in order to create some result. There is nothing more to do. All the prayers have been fulfilled in this particular discovery, and it is for this discovery alone that the prayers and other karmas were performed. In this way, Shankara connected Vedanta Sastra to the Karma Sastra. Karma Yoga is meant for this alone. Thus, sannyasa is really Sarva Karma Sannyasa. For the Sarva Karma Sannyasi, there are no karmas to be performed. The point here is that the rituals enjoined by the Shastra need no longer be performed by the Sarva Karma Sannyasi. If the person continues to be a householder, he or she is purely playing out previous karma, prarabdha karma, and whatever one was doing is continued. King Janaka was a case in point. Although he was considered a wise man, he continued to be the ruler of a kingdom and was not bothered by the role at all. Like Janaka, one can be a wise person and be in the world or be a sannyasi without playing any roles, having given up everything to pursue knowledge. Either way, it is possible. Being a jnani has nothing to do with what the jnani seemingly does and does not do. This is what is meant by sarva karma sannyasa, as established in the Shastra and elaborated upon here by Shankara. When you say I am affected, then Atma is looked upon as an object, a karma that has something affecting it. This object can be a person, an event, or even Ishvara. Anyone who looks upon Atma as an object does not know Atma. The samsari's ignorance, ajnana, is such that not only does the person look upon himself or herself as a karma object, but also as a karta, which only heightens the ajnana. One looks upon oneself as a doer, otherwise, one could not be a sinner. One looks upon oneself as a doer, otherwise, one could not be a sinner. Unless a person performs action, there is no way of sinning, nor is there any way of gathering karmas and karmapalas. Okay. Some people do not take the body as Atma, but believe that there is a survivor of this body. Most religious people believe this to be so. Even the nihilists, Buddhists, believe that you are born again and again. Therefore, moksha for them is realizing that the Atma is a zero, non existent. They believe in the survival of the Atma until enlightenment, whatever their concept of enlightenment may be. Okay, let me read this paragraph again. Some people do not take the body as Atma, but believe that there is a survivor of this body. Most religious people believe this to be so. Even the nihilist Buddhists believe that you are born again and again. Therefore, moksha for them is realizing that Atma is a zero, non existent. They believe in the survival of the Atma until enlightenment, whatever their concept of enlightenment may be. Hmm. Thus, in all religions, they talk of an Atma other than the physical body, referred to as the soul, that which survives death. Thus, in all religion, they talk of an Atma other than the physical body, referred to as the soul, that which survives death. Any given soul is the Karta. He or she is the sinner, and so on. It is a belief, but at the same time, people do look upon the Atma, the survivor, the soul, as one who is subject to all kinds of karma, all kinds of punya, papa, imperfections, and so on, and as the one who may get some kind of bliss experience later. All these beliefs are negated here by Krishna. Bhashyakara mentioned specifically those who consider themselves to be great scholars and yet say there is no way of knowing the Atma. They say that knowledge of the Atma free from kartritva, doership, is not possible, and therefore sarva karma sannyasa is also not possible. Hmm. So I'm not the doer. I think you guys were reading up to this point.
Yeah, we had to read from here today.
Okay, I'll start reading from here today then. So far we spend almost 30 minutes. I'm not the doer. It was pointed out that sarva karma sannyasa is only possible if Atma is not a doer, that is akarta. Only when one understands I am not the doer, aham akarta, does the renunciation of all karmas take place naturally. So it was pointed out that the sarva karma sannyasa is only possible if Atma is not a doer, that is akarta. Only when one understands I am not the doer, aham akarta, does the renunciation of all karmas take place naturally. If the knowledge that I am neither a doer nor an enjoyer has risen in someone, then sarva karma sannyasa is accomplished by that person. So somebody says neither a doer nor an enjoyer. Kartritva and bhoktritva. Only if the knowledge itself cannot take place is sarva karma sannyasa an impossibility. But on what basis can you say this knowledge cannot take place? Are you saying such an Atma is not there? And if so, upon what do you base your statement? What do you base your statement? You cannot say the Atma is not there, since the very act of saying so presupposes an Atma. Because you are existent, you are talking. Therefore, no one can say, I am not there. In the existence of Atma, then there is no doubt whatsoever. If the doubt is not with reference to the existence of the Atma, then it is with reference to the Atma being akarta. It is easy to assume that there can be no akarta Atma because the Atma is known as karta and not as akarta. And if there is an Atma that is akarta, there is no way of knowing it. This could be the contention of most people who do not understand that there is no kartrutva for the Atma. To this we answer as follows. If Atma is the karta, it must always be the karta. If the Atma is always the karta, if kartrutva is the very nature of the Atma, then as a doer, it should be doing all the time. But that is not what happens. Sometimes you fall back and do nothing at all. You only enjoy. Then you see only enjoyership, bhoktritva, and no kartritva. Similarly, if enjoyership were the nature of the Atma, then the Atma would be a bhokta all the time. Thus, Atma is neither karta nor bhokta. There are also moments when neither doership nor enjoyership is there, when there is no I sense at all, because this I notion, ahankara, is absent at times between two thoughts. For example, how then are you going to account for this experience? You cannot, nor can you say that the Shastra says the Atma is a karta, because it says that Atma is akarta, and we have no data whatsoever to contradict this statement. No data to contradict this statement. You may agree with the Shruti that Atma is akarta and may say that knowledge of such an Atma is not possible because it's not object of your mind. But Shastra says that such knowledge has got to be gained by the mind alone, for which there is a pramana, the Shastra. You have a mind that is capable of the knowledge that will destroy the ajnana, the ignorance. This is all that we are talking about, and you say it is not possible. Is it that it is not possible for you, or is it because it's not possible at all? So we read something about I'm not the doer. So they're trying to explain all that can be why that he is not he is akarta and kartritva bhavana and bhoktritva, and he's neither karta or neither bhokta. I'll continue. Can Atma be known? How can I gain the knowledge of Akirtar Atma? I cannot see the Akirtar Atma. Here, Shankara says that knowledge of Atma is not similar to the knowledge of an object. Here, Shankara says that knowledge of the Atma is not similar to the knowledge of an object, but rather is the removal of ignorance about the subject itself. There is a knower who has ignorance about himself or herself, and removal of that ignorance is the only knowledge being discussed here. This knowledge, Vritti is I am not the doer, aham akarta. This thought, Vritti, is capable of destroying the ignorance about oneself. A particular fact that I am the Atma, the non doer, is not known, and ignorance of this fact is removed by, by a vritti brought about by the teaching Upadesha. The vritti, having done its job, goes along with the ignorance. Hmm. Where is the problem here? We have a complete methodology, prakriya for it, how exactly the knowledge takes place, and so on. If you say that it does not take place in your particular mind, antakarana, then we will say that a certain type of antakarana is necessary and that there are ways for you to gain it. This is why the Gita talks so extensively about yoga and so on. Because you do not want to accept something, you keep on talking about its impossibility. This is because of your commitment to a belief. You are not committed to truth. First, you commit yourself to a belief, to a faith, and then you explore for confirmation of that belief in the Shastra. One should have Shraddha in the Shastra and explore it to find out what it has to convey. So very nicely said about what Antakarna should be to receive this knowledge. Importance of intellectual honesty. If you're honest, committed to truth, all you need to do is look back at what has been said here. You will find nothing that you can disown or disprove. All that has been said all that has been said is something that you have to see as it is. We are not proposing anything speculative. We are not making a promise. We say that you are an akarta and that you are avinashi, indestructible. How can such a person perform any action, there being no action really? There are two types of negation. One is physical negation, nisheda, and the other negation by knowledge, bada. The kartritva buddhi is there and it is negated. You may see you may see the same person performing an action, talking, for example, and at the same time saying that Atma is a karta and so on. One could say that Krishna was talking and was therefore a karta. Arjuna could have said to Krishna, You are performing the action of talking to me. How then can you tell me that Atma is a Karta? To say that the one who knows Atma does not perform any action means that you do not know Atma. Krishna was definitely performing actions. For one thing, he was driving Arjuna's chariot. Does this not make him an Anyani? And if he is an Anyani, what does he have to teach? This kind of question arises only because Atma is not understood. Okay, let me see how far we have to go. Okay. Uh, can I read for another couple of minutes? Because I know we want to do some manana, right? 15
Yeah, only
minutes.
this page, I think, this page and little small
Yeah,
paragraph behind, you
okay.
can continue. Yeah.
Okay, let me finish reading this. Similarly, we see a variety of colors in a peacock's feathers, but there are no such colors in fact. The appearance of color is due to different prism-like structures that reflect light in a particular manner. This is purely Bada. Or is it called Beda or Bada? Bada. Bada is negation by knowledge. This is purely Bada, the negation by knowledge. It does not mean that you are negating the perception of color, only that you are negating color being there. In fact, all science is purely Bada. It goes on negating. It sees something and then finds it is not true, that it is not true, and that something else is true instead. When you go after the substance of a given substance, what was previously considered to be the substance is found to have no substance because it has to depend on another substance for its existence. In this way, we find that any substantive losses its any substance maybe we find that any substance loses its substance still continues to exist, and although you have negated its existence, you may even use it. Okay, let me read that line again. In this way, we find that any substantive loses its substance and it still continue to exist, right? Although you have negated its existence, because you may even use it. Anyway, we'll come back here. Bada is a kind of negation that is done by everyone. A physicist will say that gold is nothing but some quanta of energy. Copper is also some quanta of energy. However, this does not mean that he will give his fiancée a copper engagement ring. Buying a gold ring does not in any way alter his knowledge that both gold and copper are but energy. This is also Bada negation. Seeing it, you negate it. Bada then is a different type of negation, and that is how Kartritva Buddhi in the Atma is negated. Bada negation is not a simple negation. Once Bada is there, regardless of what the jnani does, he or she knows that I perform no action. This is the knowledge, jnana, and there is no way of losing it. This is what we call sarva karma sannyasa. It does not mean that a person will not do any action. It means that the Chat Chit Ananda Atma does not perform any action. There is nothing more to be done. While performing karma, the Sarva Karma Sannyasi sees that there is freedom from action. In action, he or she sees actionlessness. The one who knows this is called Buddhiman. Such a person has the knowledge, buddhi, and has done everything that has to be done. Kritna karma krit. Okay. Kritna karma krit. Krishna, Krishna karma krit. Because he or she knows that Atma is akarta, always for Purna. Shankara spends a lot of time here quoting from later verses because of the importance of these two sentences. He said that it would be shown that the one who has self knowledge, Atmajnana, alone is qualified for Sarva Karma Sannyasa. So, one who has self knowledge, Atmajnana, alone is qualified for Sarva Karma Sannyasa. Such a person is not bound anymore by karma. Therefore, whatever a sarva karma sannyasi does, he or she does only because it has to be done and not because of any desired result. Because of the person's prarabdha karma, certain actions may be performed. This will be seen repeatedly throughout the Gita Sastra. What is relevant here is the initial conclusion that Atma is not subject to any change or destruction. It's avyaya. Further, that's the next verse, 22. So I know I went kind of fast with reading the later part of it. Maybe something need to be repeated. So, so for what we read was that Bada is part is maybe need to be repeated. The importance of intellectual honesty. That's the one we probably would read that. Mm. So, yeah, I couldn't keep track of whole thing, but let me see. I think some of this we read in the previous verse also, right? So, uh, but then the important part is understanding the Atma. The knowledge about the Atma is be very clear in our mind. And that only happens when the antakarna is clean or antakarna shuddhi happens. And the next part is they kind of trying to explain that he's, the probably we read the last part was Atma is not killed, the or to or killed by someone, right? So in either it's a subject or object in that sense. Here, that action is explained in a couple of ways, right? How the person destroy kam hanti or kam gatayati, which is somebody impel to kill. Whom does he impel to kill? So there may be two person can exist. One person who acts like a boss, who directs this other person to go and do this whatever job that need to be done, like robbery or whatever that he wanted to do. But both performs that action. But one who is responsible is the guy who's the head. So that's I mean, even though both did karya, and that becomes the other person becomes less he was an accomplice, but not real killer or felony person.
So
So that
basically, that vritti jnana is what which is coaxing to do any action.
mm,
The 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 vritti which we have, which is maybe that vritti, because of that vritti may be good or it may be bad. So the the vritti which is brought about by any teaching or by any some conclusion you make, and then it when it happens, then that action is done.
mm,
So again, it's only happening at the anatma level. The atma is not involved anywhere.
right. That's so that
Vritti
is
jnana.
yeah, Riti Jnana. Mm. Here it's almost like deriving formula, like how this author puts it in this form. Sometimes it seems like we're reading the same thing, but it's not. It's very much you have to pick in between the words, like the same thing. I thought, oh, you're reading the same thing again, and then no, it's not. It's totally different. Different meaning, like it has some context, but it's a little bit different. That Vritti Jnana is mm, who is the doer part, and that is that where it
Can
is
atma be known? Can atma
known.
be known? In that heading. Mm. After I am not the doer.
Okay, who's the doer? So again, Sarva Karma Sannyasi is in the end only it comes out, right? In the beginning part, I thought, okay, whoever and they renunciate all the karmas and duties, they become Sarva Karma Sannyasi. But that the other one also we read that like enlightened one and not enlightened one or something like that, right? For the Sarva Karma Sannyasi to be. So here the Sarva Karma Sannyasi is the one who's already become that knowledge. He knows that jnana.
Is the
That's why,
enlightened.
yeah, enlightened. That's the reason why he says, I am not the doer. I am not performing this action
Yeah,
because he knows that Atma is a non-doer.
yeah. And Sar Karm Sannyasi would be living his life because of some prarabdha karma, but
Mm,
he is into that frame of mind that I am not the doer, and he has that complete knowledge of the Atma.
Atma, yeah. Yeah, they gave
And
other
Dr.
examples
Mara,
also.
yeah,
Mm,
I think it's Dr. Brahmra has to leave exact sharp at 8:30, so we'll
yeah.
do the Manana tomorrow.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know. She said 5 minutes before, right? Six
yeah,
minutes before. Yeah,
we'll do the Manana tomorrow.
sure.
This year.
We'll do that tomorrow. I'll conclude this, and I don't have that video. If you want, I'll stop sharing here. You can, if you have the
Okay.
video, you can play it. लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः
So, how do you imagine your life in your 50s or 60s? Do you want to spend your retirement years in the hospital?
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth.
Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.